the people have.
And I think we are live. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Beyond the 90. Chelsea won, Leicester won. Joaquin, we've got Joaquin with us. Again, link to the description to all Joaquin's information as well. Joaquin, what do you think about this performance?
Okay, Neil, it's great to talk with you again, and I think that it's a decent point. It's good. It wasn't the result that per people have waiting. I think that every fan was waiting or have an illusion for have a win, but it's a decent point. We have a good result. It was one of the best teams in the world. What one is the three? I think that it's the third better team in England right now, and we have played a good match. We will have our things. We have a good defense system today. Um, I think that it's so much no, it's so little bit things to say, but about us, it's all the things that we could talk. It's about Chelsea, I think.
Exactly. Yeah, I think Chelsea, they were all over us. But as you were saying, something that we've not done all season is defended well. Now, there were holes in the defense. It wasn't completely perfect. Chelsea are a good attacking side. They can't quite finish. However, the back line with Fofana, I think he did fantastically. Daniel Amate
Yeah.
got caught out a little bit at times. It's not his position. He normally plays in the back of a three on the right-hand side. And Evans, I think, did a job. But as a defensive unit, as a back three, I think they did well today to cope with the amount of attacks and how quick Chelsea were.
Yeah, I think that today was a good match for the three center backs. I think that it's important to have three center backs when Thomas will play, because he is. I It's a difference between when Thomas plays with two center backs when he plays with three center backs,
Yeah.
because he's more offensive than defensive. I think that it's clearly. And yeah, I think that like all the season, Fofana is the best center back that we have, and yeah, he will be so better. He was a good game. He have a very duels against Rudiger, who was playing so high today, and he has done a great job. I think that Evans is playing well, but it's not the best center back today. And Amarty, who has playing in the left, and I think that he's not his position. He's better when he is in the right. But have a decent game. It's really nice to see a good defending match. Yeah.
I think so. I think you're right. Again, it's good defensively because this season, especially, defense has been at times it's like the defense wasn't there. They were cutting straight through, and for the most part, they put up with it. Again, they played three at the back. They've not played three at the back that much this season. One player I have to touch on again. We'll come on to the midfielders and the attackers soon, but Castagna, I think, did pretty well. He was missing a little bit, but down that right, I think he did well. He started building into the games again after his injury. Luke Thomas, I think I like Luke Thomas as a player, but I don't know if you agree. This game, again, Reece James is a fantastic right back and a wing back, but Thomas couldn't cope today. I think next season, he's still young. We need to maybe send him on loan to the Championship or a lower Premier League team to get his confidence back and have a consistent run of games. Once he gets that, I think he comes back into the team and he plays really well. But not to discredit him. I think today he showed his levels are not as high as we want them to be. And that's okay because we have to think of Thomas for the long term.
Yeah, it could be, but I don't know. I think that we want to send a loan to Thomas, and we will get in the team the next season to Ryan Bertrand. It's my idea. Yeah, I think that right now the priority is to send out Bertrand, and later could think what do we do with Thomas, because it's the really problem. We will have a empty in the left back, and Thomas it's an experience. He is so potentially, and I think that with a little more confidence in him, he will be better the next season. And yet today he have a bad game against Rhys James in a season when we have seen that he could have a bad game against Rhys James, but he could
Mhm.
have a really good game covering to Mo Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Mhm.
And I think that we should have a lot of confidence in his potential, and even if the offer isn't good, isn't the best offer that we could have in the for a loan, like I think that a team who could need him the next season could be a Bournemouth. It
Mhm.
could be, yeah. They haven't left back. But he is a player who I think that at championships alone, mm, it's under his level. I think that
Mhm.
we are talking about a player that who has shown that he could play in the Premier League, but he needs confidence.
Mhm.
And I think that if we couldn't have the best season and a perfect loan for the next season, we should keep him and send out Ryan Bertrand, who is. I think that it's the first thing that we should do, and later we could think if really we will send out Thomas. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, maybe again that's the thing. I think as you were saying, the confidence and Bournemouth is a really good idea, and having the consistent run of games, as we saw with Dewsbury Hall, how much his level went up just in 1 year. So it
yeah,
could just be that, and it's just these small margins again. So we'll move Castagna. I don't want to touch too on, but the midfield. I mean, Kin Dewsbury Hall today. He didn't quite come off, and I think that's because Chelsea defended really well. However, another great performance from him, and his work to a lot of the time. I realized that Kante, I love Kante, even Kante couldn't keep up with Dewsbury Hall. Kante's had a bit of a bad season. However, from what Chelsea fans saying, Keenan Dewsbury Hall and Madison, even Kante was struggling to keep up with the both of them from attacking and defending.
yeah. It's incredible. Kieran Hall was one of the better players, being a championship player when he came again to Leicester, and
Mm-hmm.
he has suffered a transformation that it's really shocking for other players because when he plays in the Premier League under 23 and when he goes to Blackpool, he was a player, a more similar James Madison player. He could have a good free kicks or being more offensive than defensive. And in Luton, he has won a more defensive experience, and right now it's a box to box profile that we could say that it's a reality. It's a player who could play in the Premier League in a big in and not in the half in the low half mid top table, and he could play in the high level because he is showing that he has the potential for will be best than now, and I think that we have a really exciting project in Hernandez Hall for the future, and right now it's a reality and one of our best players. It's really incredible because he has have a transformation in 1 year that other players couldn't have because they don't have the ability for do all the work that Gilbert Hall do.
Exactly. No, I definitely agree there. And his ability to, as you were saying, box to box, he's everywhere in the midfield. And
Yeah,
when he loses the ball, immediately he's going to find the ball again. It's not immediately. So shout out to Leicester Fan TV, Leicester Fan TV, Leicester Till I Die. Thank you, Chris. This is Joaquin again, lovely bloke. Knows so much about Leicester City for all the way from Latin America as well. Just to get some of your comments, Chester's put in not the prettiest, but a decent result. Yeah, we take the point.
yeah,
It's a good point considering this game up in the home. We were absolutely beaten by Chelsea, and they could have had maybe 6 or 7, but the offside stopped them.
yeah,
It was it
yeah.
was it was
I
a it was a
remember this.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so Ethan's here, just left the ground. Otherwise, got a quick otherwise Mr. Train, no problem. For Fofana, man of the match again. Fofana, there's quite a few man of the match performances. We could talk about that. And Maddison, again, I think we were speaking on the midfield. James Maddison today, his confidence is going up and up. And he had the spell at the beginning of the season where he was no goals and assists. And we're thinking, oh, is he quite hitting it? Since I think the Brentford game when he scored, he's been probably the most consistent Leicester player, considering we were playing. And today, considering he's against Jorginho, against Kante, he was, I think, what was impressive as well, he was playing the ball forward. He was inviting tackles, but also he's dropping deeper in the pitch and playing some really good balls forward as well.
Yeah, James Mason with confidence is one of the best players in the league. He has a talent that it's incredible, and I could remember that his season is incredible because at the start of the season he wasn't the half player than he is right now. He was he has won a lot of confidence during the season. He was having a growing into his mentality, and right now is our best player. He is the best player of the season we have seen in the Leicester City Awards, and I think that we have a player that we could build around him. And with him and Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall in the midfield, we have a really consistent basis for the future, for the next 5 years. And it's really important to keep him. And yeah, it's unbelievable because he's a player that easily could play in every Big Six team, and it's really enjoyable to see him play when he has the confidence, because he is really, really impressive every match that he played with us. He could score goals, and he's improving his defensive workout, and it's really important for the team to have a leader with the number 10 in his back. Yeah, it's the most important thing to have a good version from James Maddison, because he could do the difference between be a good team and be a winner team. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely agree there. And there's just, again, it's just the small differences. Again, today his levels were great. However, it's not that I want to complain, because his defensive work was good, and it was partly because they defended very well. At times, our attack needed to be a little bit stronger when they're playing three at the back with Thiago Silva, fantastic defender, really, really good. Rudiger, really good defender. But then Chalobah, who tracked Vardy very, very well. However, I wanted to see a little bit more going forward and creating more opportunities. And I don't think that quite happened today, but it's something that we can improve on going forward.
Yeah. I think the next season we shouldn't have to play against Rudiger, but today he has the Chelsea defenders also been good. Especially Thiago Silva was impressive against Vardy, being that Vardy is faster than Thiago Silva. He has a good match covering Vardy, and yeah, I think that this match has been frustrating for Vardy and Iheanacho, because they haven't the space that happened in other matches. Vardy couldn't run through to win the back from the defenders like he does against other teams, because it's Jamie Vardy. What team could have a match against Leicester without studying Jamie Vardy movement? And today, Rudiger and Thiago Silva have been, and Chalobah, that I think that was behind Rudiger, but I think that we couldn't say nothing about Iheanacho and Vardy, because it's a match that Chelsea has planned for a new day, and they reached their objective. Vardy couldn't run, Iheanacho couldn't generate offensive game, and that's frustrating. But we are playing against one of the best defender of the world, and it isn't easier for any attackers. Even they have uh, good games in against the best teams in the world. And yeah, it's frustrating for our attackers, but it's the thing that it would have plays in the Premier League. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. Again, you're right. So it wasn't the best performance going forward. That will improve over time, and we've seen this season that our performances going forward have been better than our defensive performances. So we've been okay in that department. And I think one thing as well to mention as well, we mentioned Maddison. I think we don't think we didn't mention is Maddison's goal, the way that we, again, the build-up play from Schmeichel over to Castagna, then Castagna over to Maddison, I think, and the Maddison goal was absolutely beautiful. There's not a keeper in the world that is stopping that ball, because it was such a good finish for the first goal. I think Ethan was saying went crazy for the Maddison score, and yeah, rightfully so. Fantastic goal he scored.
Yeah, and it's so early in the match because it was the thing that we should do. We had entered when the Chelsea was called, and yeah, we have takeover opportunity for have a goal in the scorer, because in the match in the later of the time it will be hard. It has turning harder with the pass of the minutes, and yeah, it's we have a lot of players with a good technique. Casper still having his distribution ball because has a regret in this season, but yeah, he has a good participation in the construction of the goal
Distribution,
and
yeah.
distribution. Yeah, and yeah, it's a proof that we have the technique for we have players who have the technique for will a play like this, and we have to explode. We have to we have to try to improve our uh, offensive plays the next season. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think maybe this is not the game for it. Again, Chelsea away is a hard
Yeah.
ground to go to. It's a tough game. And you can see by the substitutions late on that Brendan Rodgers wanted to play for the point, which is not too bad. I mean, he took off Iheanacho and he took off Vardy, which both weren't working. And then we played with no recognised striker. I mean, the front three was James Maddison in the nine position, Jose Perez on the right, and then Harvey Barnes on the left. It was more about containing Chelsea and trying to go for the point, which I'm fine with considering the season that we've had and the results we had. A point, again, helps us just get in that ninth position a little bit more securely. And eighth position might be ours as well, with Wolverhampton having Wolves having Liverpool. They have to go to Liverpool, or they're playing Liverpool at home. And then we have Southampton. We could potentially, after not a good season, come up to eighth position, which is a bit crazy. Anyway, so one thing I want to go on to a little bit more as well is, I think, one player, Mendy, not played a lot this season. That I should say Leicester City Mendy, because they have Mendy in goal as well, but didn't do anything special. But what he did effectively, and I think for that, credit to him. Wasn't an amazing performance. He comes in, does a job, does what we need to do, and then and puts in a decent performance. Considering, again, he's not played many games this season.
Yeah, he's doing his work because his work is to replace Ndidi, and even he in his life he will never be a good player like Ndidi, but he is doing great, and he's taking his minutes for. I think that until the middle of the season he was uh, nearly to get out to the club. He was really close to go to Galatasaray, I could remember,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
I think that he's taking his opportunity for showing that could get another opportunity and in Leicester. I'm not totally convinced that he will be our Ndidi replacement all the time, but even for another best team than in another best team than Turkey, best league that Turkey could keep an eye on him, and he could have another opportunity in a good team in a good league, that because he could play in a good league. I remember that today was a good uh, was a good resource for the construction of the game.
Mhm.
And maybe he will not be the new Kante who like we think when he comes, but he is a good player. He deserves a chance to show that he could play in the high level, and maybe it's that we need because we haven't our defensive midfielder right now, and yeah, we don't have another alternative that trusting Mendy.
Mhm.
But Mendy is doing good his homework, and it's great for us, for him, and for showing to the people that Napoli's Mendy could play in a good league and in a good level.
I agree. I agree. I still think, again, Hamza Chowdhury can come in and do a job, especially against a tough team. Need that physicality. I think personally he can do a job. Brendan Rodgers doesn't seem to fancy him or think he's good enough. Look, it's something that we'll get onto the summer. We'll have to see because there is defensive midfielders that, but one of them at minimum is going to move.
Yeah, but
Um, uh, sorry, you were saying.
yeah, in the case of Choudhury and in the case of Mendy, we are talking about two players to Brendan Jordan have shown that more interest in that sell him.
Mm,
Choudhury has been relationed with Wolverhampton and Newcastle, West Brom.
mhm.
Mendy has been relationed with Metz, with Galatasaray, and yeah, right now Brendan is trusting in players that I think that it's we could say that he doesn't want him at the start of the season. He wasn't part of the plan, but yeah, he is using his players for have a good end of the season.
I think so, and I think somebody like a Mendy will do really well in the French League 1 and or the Italian league. I think them two
Yeah,
leagues specifically, I think Mendy could do really well in. And for a free, I think it's a really good opportunity for him to go because his contract, I think, expires next month.
and yeah, I think that yeah, we will lose money, but even we couldn't sell him for more than 5 million, and that's not dramatic. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's a good way for him to have a goodbye from the King Power, and yeah, it's a player who we will remember with. Um we will we have a good remember about him. Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
is.
I'd say we have fond memories of Mendy, and we'll go.
Yeah,
You will need to, yeah, not send you on your way, but thank you for what you've done. One question as well. Again, one thing we have to mention as well. Um, we didn't concede from a set piece. They have some big players. When I saw Rudiger on the team sheet, I remember was it against Chelsea at home 2 years ago when Barnes missed the chance, but Rudiger got 2 goals, and I remember thinking, if we get corners, they've got Lukaku, big strong presence. They've got some Thiago Silva, who's good in the air. You've got Rudiger, who's good in the air. We weren't perfect. I remember Lukaku had a header, free header, got away from Daniel Amate. But overall, in this game, we didn't concede that many opportunities, which I'm happy about. And I think the first corner that we had, because I was thinking, oh no, first corner, Vardy headed it away, and I was like, finally, we've defended set piece, and we were 1-0 up. So we did defend the corners good, but there still could be improvement. But that's a lot better than it's been a lot of the season.
yeah. It's really improved to the last matches that we have lost.
Mhm.
Because set pieces was a nightmare for us, and yeah, and the key for the good defenders is to have Fofana in a good location and to have a secure Kasper Schmeichel because he had win all the duels that he had. Especially, I could remember a duel against Thiago Silva
Mhm.
when Thiago Silva is a great shoulder, and yeah, we have a good match in this point, but we could improve our performance with the set pieces the next season, and it's the important because we have lost many points by this way against Burnley, against Chelsea. against
Roma.
Arsenal. We
Roma
have lost
lose.
Roma, yeah,
Mm,
and yeah, we need players that have a good aerial game the next
yeah.
season, and we are players like Amarte is good, but he's not so high for the marking in our zone, and also Thomas and Castagne hasn't the high, and we need players that could cover all the space that we lost with our short left and right backs.
Mm,
And yeah, I think that if the next season we cover this empty, we will have a so much better season.
yes, we will. And one thing as well, speaking of again a good season and moving into next season, with Yuri Tillemans in this not in this game, I don't think we really missed him. And I'm not saying he's not a bad player. Obviously, I think more than likely he's going to leave in the summer. A lot of people said he's on his way out. But with Leicester City, with the way he is and the way he's playing, with Yuri Tillemans, the future looks good. I know obviously Mendy, but with this midfield of KDH and Madison, I think there's a real I'm not too sad because we'll get a replacement in, but I think we're in a good place as long as we can get like Ndidi back.
Yeah, I think that Yuri will be a case like I could compare him like Kante, who has a really great performance the last season with us. He has
Mm-hmm.
shown all his potentially. When he came, he wasn't a hyped player like he is right now. He
Mm-hmm.
hasn't the market that he has right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because in Monaco he wasn't really good. With us, he is a top player. He has turned it on really top class player the last season. This season
Mm-hmm.
have not been good. In the
Mm-hmm.
first half of the season, he was our best players. When, but I think that in the future we will see two elements in a team like Juventus or Real Madrid, or I hope that not in the Premier League, but if it is in Manchester United or Arsenal or a team like this, we will see a really great version of Yuri Tielemans, and we will think he could do this with us.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that he could do this with us because I think that he wants to go. It's the
I,
problem.
I think he
It's the
wants to
problem.
go for Champions League football in after year. Now, it looks like Arsenal's not going to be Champions League this year, and they are not consistent Champions League. You're right, Real Madrid
Yeah,
are, but in my opinion, Real Madrid would go for Paul Pogba as a better option.
yeah,
For example, Manchester United aren't in European football, so he won't. I don't think he'll go there. I don't think he gets into Chelsea. I don't think he gets into Man City. I don't think he gets into Liverpool's team. And I think he wants to play consistent. So if he is to go to a Champions League team, I think he'll have to go again. A Juventus would be a good example as well. So we'll have to look at that as well. And again, we'll have to we'll go on to the comments again. The last one I want to point out before we go. This is one thing as well. Even though we were playing defensively and we had no striker, we kept playing until the last minute. We didn't give up. We're like, okay, we could get an opportunity on the counter attack. And I think that was important, as David put. Had last chance for Maddis to play in Barnes, hit over the goalkeeper just ahead of Barnes again. But it shows you that even though we're playing defensively, I think the statistics was incredible. How little possession we had. I think we'll bring up the statistics here. So 32% possession.
yeah. We don't need the statistic for her to know that we have some the possession of the ball. It's all the match while we was playing in the back of the pitch, but mm, it's it's the thing that we could do right now against a top class team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So it's something small, but apart from that, yeah, again, no corners, one shot on target, but one goal. At the end of the day, Joaquin, good point. Coming towards the end of the season now, not much to play for. Good point. We move on to Southampton, and then we have a short summer, and then we're back in, I think, in July because the Premier League season starts early because of the World Cup. So It's not been
Yeah,
a good season, but we just need to make sure this next game we go and try and get the win. If we do, then we could potentially get 8th.
yeah. It's important to see this, that we have made a difference against other teams like Villa, Wolves, West Ham. Their bad season was a bad season fighting for the relegation, and our bad season is ending in the eighth position. We
Yeah.
should make the difference uh, to say we are a team that it's trying to get into the best teams in the England.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's this season has been I think that disappointing in a lot of points, but not not everything has not everything has been bad. We had good
Mm-hmm.
news for the team. We had the apparition from KDH. We have played
Yes.
our first European semi-final in our history.
Mm-hmm.
We have think that we will could say to our sons in the future. This year's we could say the first time that we have a play a semi-final with was against Roma. We
Mm-hmm.
don't have a we have lost for a goal, and yeah, it's a season that will we should see and say we have mistakes, and in the future we should work for correct this.
Yes.
And yeah, not even not also has been bad, but it's a season to learn, and in the future we have to see this like a transition. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Transition season. Next season will be a little bit more transition season, but we will, again, we'll get over it. We'll definitely talk about this in the summer. Players like Samore potentially will come in. Daka will
yeah.
hopefully come into his own as well. There'll be certain players. KDH, if he's done it this season, he could potentially go up another level. Same with probably Madison as well, wanting to go to the World Cup. So Joaquin, again, thank you for joining. Really appreciate you joining. I've left all the socials and all of your Twitter links and everything in the description, but feel free to plug away and final thoughts.
It's nice to talk with you again, Neil.
No problem. Again, link to everything is down there, down in the description. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back after the post match for the Southampton game, final game of the season. Let's get this season over and done with. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure you follow Joaquin, and we'll see everybody in the next video. So goodbye.